Good morning. It is, what is it, 6:38 a.m. on Tuesday, November 17th, 2015. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, yesterday I played more Fallout 4. But one of the things that I also did while doing that was voice chatting online with a friend of mine who had also just gotten the game, but who had never played any of the Fallout games before, or Skyrim, or really, I mean, she's played video games, but this particular subgenre is new to her. And one of the things that occurred to me over the weekend when she was talking about how she'd played it a little bit, but really hadn't gotten very far at all, because she kept running into things that at first glance for me, I was thinking, well, you got stuck on that? But this was not an indication of her lack of skill or, well, certainly lack of experience in this case, but that's, everybody starts somewhere. But in any case, thinking about that, what that really got me realizing and being more aware of is how much about this game you can do that it just really never tells you about, or maybe it tells you once in a very sudden, like the very first time you get attacked by radiation, it'll have a little things like, this is radiation, use Radaway to make it go away. And then, but that's just like a little subtitle that's on the screen for like 2 seconds, and then it goes away and is never shown again, and you can't go back to look at it. So if you just happened to miss it, or you forgot what it said, out of luck. And lots of just aspects, nuances of the way the controls work, that again, like, if it tells you at all, it's just in a quick subtitle that just goes away and you can't revisit it. Yeah, so I was just realizing that the game, despite the fact that I'm still having a lot of fun with it, is not super accessible to newcomers. And it just made me think, goodness, excuse me, it made me think how that must be a very tricky balance for the game designers of how much to hold your hand, so to speak, for newcomers, because lots of games have erred too far on the other side, where you have many players getting really bored and finding the whole opening section tedious, because it's like, okay, I know how to do this stuff. Stop making me, like, interrupting me and making me do it the way that you want to do it, just so that I can learn something I already know. That's really tiresome. For example, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. That game had this whole constant thing where, like, there's all these different items you can get, and it would explain everything about that item every time you picked one up, whether it was the first time or like the 200th time. It goes through the whole spiel, and you have to look at it. And that one is just this constant interrupting you to explain things that you've probably figured out already. So finding that happy medium, I'm sure, is very difficult, because someone like me who played Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas and Skyrim, a lot of this game is just second nature to me now. Like, well, yeah, of course, it just works like this, and then you go in the menu and you do this, and then, oh, and yeah, this is kind of the sort of thing that you're expecting. And this is not just about controls or details either. It's general guides of, like, what's the difference between, like, there are games where having a big wrench would be like a melee weapon. So in this game, when you find a wrench on the ground, it's not outside the realm of possibility that that would be equipable as a melee weapon. And yet you pick it up and you don't have it as a weapon, and you're like, what do I do? I go into my menu, and it's not there in my weapons. And then if I go over to the junk menu that it's there, does that mean that I can't use it as a weapon? Why not? So some of those sorts of things, like if you're not just sort of used to telling the difference between the way the game is going to handle something you can use as a weapon versus something that's just junk, there's a lot of those sorts of things. You don't know what the rules are. I don't think I have anything wise or profound necessarily to say about that otherwise, but it was just a little bit of a change in perspective, recognizing what that game must look like to someone who doesn't have the experience with that type of game that I do. So in any case, I helped her with a lot of the basics, and I think we got her off to a good start. All right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes.